Welcome to a Christmas roundup episode of The Endless Stream. I'm Aidan, and this week I am coming to you with Kevin. We are two artists, illustrators, filmmakers, and all-round shit talkers, and each week we take some of the endless stream of festive content brought to you through Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Disney+, YouTube, wherever you get your content. We take a chunk of it, we watch it, and we talk about it. This being Christmas Day 2023, we're going to do an end-of-year thing. We're going to do a top 3 things we liked, top 3 things we weren't that mad about this year, and we're going to just round out the year with you. So if you've eaten your fill of turkey and ham, if you've settled in and watched the Queen's speech, watched Doctor Who, watched whatever Christmas traditions you normally do, or if you're drunk and sleepy, if you're just looking for something to round out your evening, or indeed if you're listening to this on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or New Year's Eve, or whenever, we hope you enjoy this festive episode of The Endless Stream. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the podcast, heading over to iTunes, heading over to Spotify, rating, reviewing, liking, subscribing. All of those good things really help us out. Please tell people about The Endless Stream. Come, listen, chat. You can follow us on Instagram at The Endless Cast. We put up art to go with each episode. We put up clips occasionally. I'm getting really bad at the clips thing. You can send us a message there. You can tell us what you like, what you don't like, disagree with us, suggest something for us to watch. You can do that over there. It's a really easy place to engage with us. Or you can send us an email at theendlesscast@gmail.com. All of the classic things. All that being said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Let's get into the episode. I was just about to tell you about the fight.
What fight? Go on, tell me, regale me.
Should I tell this story? You can tell me. You can decide whether or not I leave it in.
Okay, change everybody's name and
no, I don't know
locations.
anybody's names or locations, okay. But I'm trying to. It's part of me that walked away from this thinking, yeah, just keep that to yourself. But now I'm like, well, I don't know. I hadn't told you about it. I came out of a gig on Wednesday night from the Lower Deck Bar in Portobello, and we were in the basement, which is the Bello Bar. And I came out, and look, please forgive me and bear with me with pronouns and assumptions and anything else that happens here. I'm going to do my absolute best with language, but sometimes you miss, you know. I came out of the bar, up some stairs, out onto that square where the language school is by the canal. You know, where it sort of opens up there after Leeson Street. And I saw in the distance, to what my old millennial eyes, was a woman in heels, a little trench coat, a little brimmed sort of fedora style hat, having a sort of hands up kind of tussle with a homeless man, I think, sort of an African. His English wasn't great, though he had enough English. It was just like heavily accented, and like I just saw in the distance a bit of a tussle, and like I didn't know anything about either of them at this point, but I just saw, oh, hold on, this is getting physical with this woman. So I'm heading in that direction pretty quickly. And then I see the woman drive towards him, grab him by the shoulders, step their right leg past them, swing it back, and big hip throw. Tuck the guy down, flatten his back.
Judo throw.
Big judo throw. Flatten his back on the ground. Hands in front of him. Gave me yelling at. At that point I realised that this was a pretty femme-presenting man. Right, so this is a
or someone who identifies as male to female potentially.
Yeah, I'm going to try and use a lot of they them as we go on here, but like in terms of like physical architecture, there's a strong male physique at play, right? Whatever else is going on, and I was like, oh, cool, okay, well at least they've put this person down and they've separated and they're stepping away and they're creating space. And they're moving across the street to 3 or 4 people standing under a street lamp. And I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, we've got some separation. We've got some space between. And this person has found a bit of safety with 3 other people. The guy that got thrown gets back up. And at this point, I am walking towards, because I just want to get through them and out of the canal and walk back to the door. But at this point, the guy's getting back up and he's coming at him and he's just yelling sort of homophobic slurs at them. And I'm like, okay, well, as I'm walking towards them, I'm like, at least there's now 4 people standing here, and 3 of the people who were there they just scattered in every direction. They just left this person on their own, and it kind of heightened again. And I was like, okay, and now I'm just sort of like going in between the two of them, going, okay, stop. You need to go, and you need to just you go, just leave this asshole here, just like, let's just get you out of here. And like, but after being more abuse is yelled at them, they then attack. So the person yelling abuse is just repeatedly getting their ass handed to them by this person who is like, I'm not fucking taking it. Like, very heightened, very aggressive, very, it's an elevated state. They're really annoyed, they're really incensed, they're upset, and as they're not having any more abuse that comes at them. They're rage driven and they're just fucking going for them. So now we're trying to keep two of these people apart. And at that point, like, one of them, the homeless man, he's now yelling at me because I'm sort of trying to stop it. I'm just like, no. And at which point, thank God, 3 people from the bar spot what's going on from the comedy show that I was just at, and they start sort of yelling and sort of saying, hey, stop. And now we've got a wall of people to try and keep them apart a bit, which is better. Now there's a little more tussling, there's a little more like running around us to futz with each other. But eventually we got a situation where one of the people said, I'm just going to put them in my car and we'll get out of here. And they got that person in the car and they drove away. At which point we're just left with the homeless guy and we're just trying to de-escalate. We're just trying to whatever. We're just trying to wait until he clears the fuck off. At which point I can then start to wander away. But it was a very tense 10 minutes.
Yeah, Jesus.
And such is Dublin.
Such is the world.
So that's an exciting little start to the show, right?
Yes, this being our Christmas jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on a one-horse open sleigh.
So this, maybe I'll drop this on Christmas Day.
That's what
this is our Christmas Day. So I just threw up the one where you start with the find it very funny, find it kind of sad. The dream. Yeah.
2023. So we're going to do our roundup.
2023.
We're going to wait. No, fuck it. No, let's just do our roundup. 3 things 2023. 3 things you hate, girls and boys, and 3 things you love.
3 things we hate, 3 things we love. Yeah, that was the brief. That was the idea. I actually was listening to the podcast that sort of set this up before, and we did say 5. But for the sake of brevity, I guess, let's knock it down to 3. Though I did think we'd have our boy with us. Have you got any, before you even get into the 3, any highlights of the year that you can think of that aren't on the list? Like, did you go anywhere? Did you do anything? Did you like, what were great things in 2023 that aren't on that list?
So great things in 2023 that aren't on the list. Myself and Eam are buying our first home together.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We did that in April. We got our keys in April 1st. Well, we got our keys in March, but we did April 1st. Yeah. That was great. And as you know, the new addition to the family, Wee Bjug, who you've had the honour, I would say, Aidan, of babysitting on multiple occasions at this stage.
Wee Bjug, of course, translates as small. Small,
yeah, that's exactly it, Wee Bjug. And Bjug, she's a delight.
Oddly enough, mid-sized dog.
Mid-sized dog, yeah. But it's not really, we're not even trying to be erotic. It's the fact that everybody thinks she's a fucking wolfhound.
Okay.
Oh, dude, have you not got that yet? Oh, man.
I did have somebody when I was walking her go, rescue dog, is she? And it's like, to begin with, I don't know, but also, why would you assume that?
Most Psyhounds that people are walking around are probably rescues.
Really? Okay.
There's a good chance 99% of them are probably rescues.
Okay.
But oh man, like kind of, we get a couple times a week, people will stop us, oh, is she Irish Wolfhound puppy? And it's just like, no, fully grown. But yeah, so Bjug, Wee Bjug, beautiful Bjug. She's been a great thing that we've had this year. We moved studio in Dublin Inc., which is kind of cool.
Very good, yeah. The new studio's beautiful.
Yes.
Lovely space in the centre of the city.
I was thinking actually, fucking live drawing would be class in that studio.
Oh yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah, if we should try and do some live drawing lessons there next year maybe. But anyways,
for like aimed at tattoo artists or aimed at like just broad like Dr. Sketchy public service.
Yeah.
Just bring some people in.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of glass to have nude model in.
Not downstairs, bro.
Oh, you mean the new studio?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought you meant the old one.
No. The new studio would be perfect.
All right.
It's a huge space downstairs. You know,
Okay.
pretty good. Could be
Yeah.
good. But like any sort of drawing or whatever, really, you know. But we're just saying it today. It could be class for life, John. But what else is there? Well, I had a lovely little break in what do you call it, in Poland. That was very nice. But to be honest, myself and Emer went to a hotel in Ireland a couple of weeks ago, and that was probably one of the highlights. That was just so chill and so nice. I've seen lots of friends get married as well.
What was the
which has been
hotel?
good this year? Oh, we just went to some random one in Cork.
Well,
we
but you
went
know
down
what
for-
you went to, right?
And it was some Radisson Pal. It was just
Okay.
it was a basic old one, but it was kind of like we did we just don't get to kind of we don't get much time to ourselves.
I hear
You know, and it was just nice to kind of we turned what was a wedding and a friend's 40th into we were able to Miranda like a kind of a day and a half for ourselves in there. You know, which is pretty awesome. I've read lots of great comics. I've seen some great movies, some bad movies, some I can't even remember sometimes. I must start writing this stuff down more. I always say that, but I never do. But there have been some highlights.
Yeah.
You know, I've been able to see your show.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, for sure, buddy. Yeah, there have been some highlights, really. I'm just trying to think. Well, to be honest, that's loads.
Yeah. I'm trying to think for me as well. Like, I mean, look, I spent 3 months in Chicago.
You had a great year.
Absolute fucking blast. Six Flags, phenomenal. New Orleans,
Yeah.
Wisconsin, St. Louis,
Yeah.
Nashville, Graceland. Like, while we were asking this question here for a minute, it occurred to me I went to Lisbon in March. Lisbon was such a blast. I went with the comedy group, and we just, like, when I say to you,
God, I forgot about that.
yeah, and when I say to you that like that weekend, that like 3 days, 2.5, 3 days, like, we woke up in the morning, had a coffee in the kitchen, walked outside, walked 100 yards, sat down and had a bigger breakfast, coffee and like French toast, got up, walked for a half an hour, had another coffee, walked for 40 minutes, had a pastel de nata, walked for 40 minutes, had a sandwich. Like, we just walked between food places and drinking and like tinned fish and just beautiful sights. Like,
Yeah.
Lisbon was an absolute fucking
Yeah, I looked at
highlight. Like, it was amazing. I'd never thought to go to Lisbon, and it was just like, this is phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
great. Maybe we should get the Endless Stream boys go to Lisbon.
Yeah, why not? Take
Now,
a
that
vote.
being
I
said,
bet
we spent all of 10 minutes on the like Lisbon equivalent of Temple Bar, and it was hellish. I saw that street and was just like, oh my god, this is fucking horrible. So, you know, pick your areas.
Yeah, of course.
Other highlights, media highlights, anything in that end?
But we're going to get the media highlights, I
Yeah,
guess, in
I'm
our
just-
rundown. That would sort of come more organically,
Yeah.
you know, because we're going to talk about the good and bad and in between. But
I met
yeah.
phenomenal people. I had a great year.
yeah,
I think
I think we've had a good year.
taking the good with the bad with the good.
Yeah, not without its stresses, of course, but I have to say, a good year overall. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Most enjoyable.
I think so.
I think one of the biggest years of my life, but one of the funnest as well, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, just also one of my highlights of this year was being able to go to Cork for one of my friends' stags and hanging out with some of the lads I grew up in secondary school. And obviously, like, I see some of them all the time.
Yeah.
But the ones we're in touch, but we don't get to see each other. And just seeing some of the lads at the weddings and stuff was so much fucking fun. I love it. I've been very lucky this year, actually. I've caught up with a lot of the guys that I grew up with. And like one of my friends, Nettie, he's in Canada. He stayed over in my place a few times and stuff. And yeah, like it's been a great year. It's just been a crazy year.
Yeah,
But I feel you've had a crazy year between Portugal, Chicago, a month in Edinburgh, the Fringe Festival.
trip to London.
Yeah, and also finishing in a job that you worked in for quite a long time.
Yeah, that was such a relief to get out of that job in many ways. But then the other edge of that coin, or the other side of that coin, is like the uncertainty. Like, I'm still unemployed, and that was March. So,
Well, you can't say you're still employed and that was March, because realistically you've only started looking, I would say, since September. Would that be correct?
September, October, November, December. So 4 months of sending in job applications.
And you have worked a little bit on and off in the other bits and bobs. Don't say yourself short.
I haven't though. Yeah, look, the job thing's pretty demoralizing, but I won't dwell on that. Like my art stuff has, like, kind of noticeably, to my mind, got better. If that makes any sense. Like I did some paintings here for Christmas presents and things, and it's interesting hopping back into physical media, probably for the first time since before the pandemic. I've done a lot of digital work. The pandemic kicked me into Procreate in a big way, and doing all of the illustrations for this podcast has like improved my concepting, my draftsmanship, my color theory. Like, I was not a good colorist. Now I used to draw in a very cel shady style. Now I like to take the time to do very painterly stuff, even if it's not great. I'm playing with stuff. Like even today, painting something, I found myself making a choice in the color mixing process that I wouldn't have made a year ago. I just, thinking about an element of color theory that I have a better grasp of. Yeah, I think this has been a little bit of a banner year.
What does the banner year mean?
It's a good year. You put a fucking sign up, I guess, right? Is that what it means? We put a sign up. We put a banner up.
Fair. Yeah, it has been a great year, I have to say. Yeah.
So let's talk then about
our Rig It 2023 roundup.
2023 roundup. Do you want to start negative or positive? What do you want? One of each? We go one for one.
Always start on the bright side of life. Boom, boom.
How about we go one negative, one positive? That way we end on a positive.
Okay. So you start then. What do you want to start? Negative or positive?
I'm going to start negative. We'll do negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. That way we end up on a positive, on two positives to end. Okay. So we tried to look at the things that we've watched, touched on, consumed.
Basically watched, read.
Yeah, I think so. It's the media end of stuff.
It's the media end of stuff.
And from
video games can go in there as well.
Yeah, video games. I haven't played much video games. I've been out in the world so much, so it's been more videos and stuff.
I haven't played anything like that. Yeah.
Secret Invasion, man.
Okay.
That's my first negative.
That's your first negative.
It was top to bottom dog shit. Okay. And I'm as I'm saying this, I'm listening to your okays going, how did he feel about this show in the end? I'm trying to remember how you felt about it, but we'll come to it. Let me I guess make my case. I love everybody in that. I'm not mad on that. I don't need to get specific, but I like the cast. I think there was so much potential. There's actually somebody in that show that I went to school with years ago. Haven't spoken to him in fucking years, but I was like, there he is. That's fucking great. He's in a Marvel show. Amazing. Great work. They got some flack. They got much flack for the fact that the opening credits were done using AI tools, which is like, okay, I can understand that. But thematically, we said the concept of a narrative based around identity theft and authenticity, having AI opening credits is kind of cool. Taking that concept a little further, it would have been awesome if by the final episode where we're sort of righting the ship or coming to some sort of victory, I assume, it would have been cool if the credits gradually got more like human handmade. But that obviously didn't happen. But there's enough in that like there's enough in that show where I don't think this happened. Maybe I'm nuts, maybe I'm paranoid, but I watched scenes that were so by the numbers, vague spy show tropes that I was just like, did they open ChatGPT and go, scene between two spies, reminiscent of 3 Days of the Condor, set in a museum, go. And then just whatever they came out, they just changed the names to Nick Fury and Davros or Talos, sorry. Like there's scene after scene in that I can go, oh, that's a takeoff from like the museum scene is Skyfall, the standing up stuff. Like I can go through spy movies and go, like there's a scene where Nick Fury goes to a grave where he has stuff stocked, he's got a go bag basically, like in a very Born Identity kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remember the Born Identity where he goes to a safe deposit box somewhere and opens a box and it's got all his gear in it, if you remember this scene, it's a mausoleum with 4 grave holders or spaces for ashes, like recesses for urns, I guess, whatever you'd call them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he opens one after the other to retrieve things, and they're as stupid as like a gun in one and a passport in the other and a fucking eye patch in one of them. Like, it's like, just open one fucking box. There is no part of this show ultimately that did not fucking annoy me, down to Emilia Clarke's fucking super scroll at the end making no fucking sense beyond. So Secret Invasion, big pile of dog shit. All of the Razzies, je regrette. So that is my. I don't even have these in any order. I mean,
nor do I.
Huh? That is my first boo of 2023. How about you?
Okay. Well, my first boo of 2023 is the same.
It's the same.
Yes, I put Secret Invasion as well.
Phenomenal. Tell me your reasons.
To be honest, like, there was parts of Secret Invasion that I actually kind of got really into and really liked, right? Yep. Parts of it. I like that scene where, I want to say his name is like, what's the character's name? Davros or something?
The Australian actor playing the Skrull?
Was he Davros?
He was Talos.
Talos. And then who was the guy that you went to school with?
Fella named Killian Scott. He played the villain's like lead henchman guy.
He's not the main villain.
Not the main villain, no. He played like the henchman. He brought him in. Olivia Colman's in this fucking thing as well, and she's good, but she's given dog shit to work with.
Hang on, Killian
with a K.
Oh, okay. So I don't know him. I don't recognize him. I don't even recognize him in the TV show now, if I'm being honest with you.
Fair enough.
I was talking about the main guy. Yeah. But that's just my own fault there. But I don't recognize Killian Scott now. But the main guy, the main villain, I thought he was cool. And like, I liked the scene where he kind of he approached the kind of the underground kind of government board of Skrulls, and he made them kind of like renounce their human visage and expose themselves and it like kill them or whatever, like stuff like that. There was some stuff in it I thought like, oh, this is so cool, because like it's like a race of aliens infiltrating Earth, played by our rules, but then have their own secret society with leaders and armies and commanders and stuff within it. And I kind of thought that stuff was fun. I know it's not super original, but it's fun. Mm-hmm. And I really liked that scene. I thought that scene was great. I really found the tension and stuff. But I remember watching the last episode, and then it ended and stuff, and being like, "Oh, what the fuck was that?" Like, and I'm kind of being like, "What the fuck was that?" Thinking there was going to be another episode halfway through, and then I'm realizing it's the last episode. I was like, "Oh, this is like Secret Invasion. What the fuck?" Like, there was like, I remember reading Secret Invasion, or maybe when I read it, it was kind of like they were doing the early 2000s version of Secret Invasions, if you get me. Mm-hmm. Like there was Skrull, it was Fantastic Four, and there was Skrull and stuff. But I remember reading like some Secret Invasion stuff, and but this is like 90s maybe. But by the time I was reading it, I was in the early 2000s. But I was still in secondary school. But I was reading it anyways. But it's like, how did someone get Secret Invasion from that? Someone was supposed to make a Secret Invasion TV show, and they came out with that.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And like. Yeah, and like as you said, like, you know, the actors and everybody in it were good. Huge cast, a great cast. Like, an Olivia Colman, what a waste of some amazing talent, you know. But I kind of feel like they could have just made cool, weird alien spy show. Like, we had that shit when we were younger on other TV shows.
Yeah. No, we've had spy shows. We know how to do spy shows. I don't know what it is.
Even aliens living under the guise of humans and within society, we've had those shows before where they're kind of cool and like, you know, there's tension and it's weird and all that kind of stuff. Like, what the fuck is this? It's just endlessly.
We keep talking about it. You know, there's just too much for them to keep a handle on.
Was Earth Final Conflict? Was that a TV show? Yeah. Did that have like grey aliens with kind of elongated heads?
So the concept of Earth's Final Conflict was an alien race comes down and basically starts helping humans convert the world into a utopia. Everything seems real, but there's a subtle undertone of dominance and control. and they start to build a little underground to sort of go, what actually is going on in the background here? And it's very tense. Like, I don't even ever think it was particularly clear as to what the visitors or they gave them a name, didn't they?
I literally, to be honest, when I literally said Earth Final Conflict, that's probably the most thought I've given that in a long time. But yeah, I did like Earth Final Conflict, right? But it's just like that's a show that kind of Talons. That's a show that kind of shows humans and aliens, or aliens and Earth culture and different things like that.
I watched something briefly that looked at like the Sci-Fi Channel's like early days, and it's like driving remit in the early 2000s to create weird fucking sci-fi shows. Like Space Above and Beyond and Farscape and Earth Final Conflict and The Fourth Wave or whatever the fuck I call it. Like all of these shows that we would have watched growing up that were just like seemingly unique original properties. But
I don't know. I can't remember enough about Earth Final Conflict to compare it to Secret Invasion. But my point was basically like kind of we've had cool aliens kind of infiltrating Earth shows before. What the fuck is this?
I just feel like they've like lost the run of the narrative needs to be good. You can't just call it a Marvel show and it be good.
And pay it off.
Like seeing Emilia Clarke and seeing people just sitting there going, "I'm in a Marvel show." And it's like, it's dog shit, and you're not like researching like what character are you playing, and are they good, and is there 40 years of legacy and 40 years of narrative to draw from and build on and create something good out of. One of the great things about the Marvel universe is it's been focus tested to fuck by multiple swings and rewrites and attempts,
and rehashed to high heavens. This stuff, like there's basically scripts and storyboards ready to go. You know what I mean?
How many versions of all of the origin stories have they done before they've like gone, hey, here's a how many versions of Captain America's origin story and interpretations of Captain America have we seen before they arrived at the Ultimates version that had the World War II angle on it that we actually ended up seeing Chris Pratt kind of be? Like,
same with Phoenix Saga and stuff.
We're just there.
I concur.
Cool. So
Secret Invasion.
Let's go with a positive.
Worst TV show.
Okay. I'm gonna go with. Look, I'm not the most musical dude. I'm not like a music nerd, but I am trying to put a bit of music onto this roundup as well of things I enjoyed in 2023. So I'm going to go with I'm going to go with a band I saw and have listened to since. I'm kind of on two minds about this, right? There's a band I saw like third day I was in Chicago. They were opening up for somebody else. I can't even remember who the fuck that was. But these two were so fucking fun, and I really enjoyed it. The band is called Party Dozen. It's a two-piece band from Sydney. It's Kirsty Tickle and Jonathan Boulay on saxophone, Kirsty Tickle, and percussion and sampler is Jonathan Boulay. And it's fun, and I think I told you about it on the podcast years back. It's very like fucking dissonant, noisy, punky, like I don't know what you would call it, but it was cool. And like Kirsty's singing involved using the microphone that sat in the bell of the saxophone. So when she when she'd play her little heart out for a fucking while and then turn it around, just scream into the bell of the saxophone, the mic would pick it up. And it just was cool. I say the band to say the band. It was cool. I really enjoyed it. They've got a collaboration with Nick Cave as well called Macca the Mutt is the song, I believe. So it's cool. On a sweeter note, just I'm trying to pair two things here in the one category. I heard for the first time this year a song by Loudon Wainwright III called The Swimming Song, and it's a real like nostalgia-y, beautiful little like wasn't summer lovely kind of song, and I used it for one of my reels looking back on like the trip I did in Chicago.
I do remember that.
And it's such a sweet
the swimming
adventurous-y song. I don't know if you want to play yourself a little bit of it there. We can cut it out just so you can hear what I'm talking about.
Well, I wrote it down if I want to check it out.
In
a second. But you can do it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Do I put a little bit of it in here, or do we get flagged for copyright? I don't know how much of it we can use.
I wouldn't put it in. Just leave it.
I think you'd like it, actually. That's it.
Yeah, very much my jam.
Yeah, it's very banjo-y.
Sounds lovely.
You're a Western boy.
Yeah.
But like Ludon Wainwright is 77 or 73 years old, so it's not like it's a new find, you know?
Yeah.
So give us a positive one.
Well, actually, forgot to mention, Altogether Now was a very good experience this year. I went to my first music festival. But that's not my positive.
That was my first
really,
musical
really
festival last year, where the headliner was Nick Cave, who I love very much, and it was an absolute blast.
Would have loved to see Nick Cave. I saw Iggy Pop, and that was cool. Yeah. But Nick Cave is the man.
He was
awesome.
He was amazing.
But so you said music. So I will say, because I assume you haven't got a comic book.
I haven't got a comic book, I'm afraid.
So I'll do a comic book. It's a comic book I was waiting for a long time, and the trade paperback came out then this year. Daniel Warren Johnson's To Do a Powerbomb. Well, actually, did that come out last year?
Let me do a Google.
I think it came out last. The trade paperback came out this year.
Did you read it last year?
I read the individual issues last year and read the trade paperback this year.
Do a Powerbomb, originally published March 7, 2023.
Okay, there you go.
Well, that's the trade paperback. Do a Powerbomb. I have all the single issues. Do a Powerbomb number 1. Here's a review from Comic Book Roundup in June 22. Doesn't count, dude.
So doesn't count. Well,
what's a comic
I have a backup. This comic book I read in 2023.
Great.
So it's Minor Threats by Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, Scott Hepburn, who I love their artwork. Their artwork is amazing. And I don't know if I spoke about Minor Threats here. I hope this came out this year. I'm pretty sure Minor Threats came out this year.
It doesn't matter if it came out this year. You read it this year.
I read it this year. Minor Threats, man. What can I say about it? It's a bunch of D-list, C-list villains. Kind of, long story short, a supervillain kills the main superhero's psychic.
Right.
The main superhero loses their absolute fucking mind and wreaks havoc on the town, trying to find the main supervillain.
Right.
And all these C-listers decide, like, because all the superheroes are now being wrangled in to hunt down this criminal, and all this, and they're going through everybody, you know. So these C-list villains, who are more probably like, you know, villains as circumstances of life, as opposed to having like integrity, bad morals or whatever. But they decide, well, you know what? Before this guy can hunt us down and kill us, we're going to find the criminal that did this. Stickman. Stickman's the criminal, and so these C-list villains all go out there to find Stickman. There's double crosses, there's savage characters, there's great art, there's so much fun, there's great tropes. I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't want to give it away, but it's really, really good fun. Like, and all the kind of characters are ridiculous, you know. It focuses on a kind of a character who has like toy making abilities, a little bit like Forge, you know, that kind of way of just kind of create stuff, and as far as I remember, but can just build stuff that kind of toy orientated and uses weapons, you know. But they're all, like I said, they're all C-list villains, so they're useless, you know. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun, and I don't know if you're aware of Scott Hepburn or their art, they're so good. They are brilliant, and it's written by Patton Oswalt,
who we love,
and there's also been a sequel to this book, but it's not fully out yet, and it's not collected, and I think it's called it's like The Associates. It's not The Associates. Or The Ascendants or something. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But it's really, really good, and I totally enjoyed it. It's really, really brilliant. If you haven't read it, I must give it to the end of it because it's excellent. Cool. Taiki Wakiti said he was hooked. Kyle Higgins, smart, sharp word building about someone looking to be better than they are, better than where they're from, better than who they were supposed to be. All rounded beautifully by Scott and Ian's doing some of their finest work, and the supervillains, more celebrations than destructions. I can't wait to see what's next for Frankie. But anyways, brilliant. Exactly what you'd expect from Patton Oswalt. It's intelligent, funny, and twisted.
That's great. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, Minor Threats. It's so much fun. And dude, just like, the artwork and the colouring is great. Like, I gotta say, like, I love it. And I could sit here and name a bunch of comics that I read this year that I thought were great, and I did. It's basically I picked Two Bar Bomb because I remember buying the trade paperback this year, and I'm a big fan of Diane Warren Johnson. He's also doing Transformers at the moment, but I'm not finished it.
Cool.
And Transformers.
Yeah, I mean, his spec art or fan art or whatever you want to call it for his Transformers stuff. Historically, we've seen like it's great.
I was watching him drawing a video I was watching him drawing Transformers, and like the dude's just drawing all these Transformers and no ruler, and it's just and like a brush pen. It's just like that's class. Yeah. It's so cool that he's drawing Transformers without being rigid. He's drawing it loose and fast. It's so cool. It's amazing. So yeah, Minor Threats is my second on the list.
Cool. First on your positive list, yeah.
First on my positive list, yeah.
Second on my negative list, then. I don't know if this is fair.
I know. I think mine's fair, but go on.
I really feel like I wish my brain could conjure up something negative that isn't this thing. Okay, I'll do this. I don't think it's fair to say Vampire Hunter D from 1985. But I'm going to. Actually, I'm going to. God, that's hard to fucking watch. That was so hard to watch. It's one of those things where it's like it's unfair really because it was a different age, it was a different budget. But then at the same time, there's stuff from the 80s that's fucking phenomenal. So this is woof. It's hard to watch. I mean, it spawned a franchise after it, and there's good stuff after it. And I only ended up watching it because of a fucking mix-up. But that is hard to fucking
God
watch.
Bless you. Fair play for watching it.
Yeah,
that's the original, is it?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess it gave enough. It had enough of a hook for people to care about it, for them to be given another shot. And I'm hoping, or I'm assuming, the rest of it's better than that because.
I hate that. I hate a slog. I fucking hate a slog.
Yeah. I don't need to say much more about that. I mean, I can tell you that I didn't entirely enjoy The Sound of Music, but that's not the same thing as it being a bad thing. It's just I didn't quite enjoy it.
Well, look, kind of, if you want to move on to my second thing that I disliked this year, The Flash.
Okay, this was circling my list of like things I didn't enjoy, but the thing is, I actually enjoyed my screening. I did. Like, it's got bad bits in it, but like I enjoyed going to the cinema that day. And it was a silly movie. Tell me what you didn't like.
You see, well, I'll just caveat this with, I saw The Flash immediately followed by Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in one day in the cinema,
Okay. Yeah.
So
I'm glad you did it in that order.
Flash first and then Spider-Man. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
If you'd done it the other way around, oh boy.
Well, you see, this is the thing though, I spent the day consuming two movies that were on very different scales of good and bad, Spider-Man Into Across Spider-Verse didn't make my list. It would have, for sure, because it's really, really good. But you know what? Aside from just kind of liking Supergirl and thinking she'd look cool, and kind of being like, yeah, a little bit of fan favourite, Michael Keaton's back, there was just so much fucking around with this movie, in this movie, costumes looking like absolute rubbish. It's crazy.
There's
stupid
no
jokes
version of his
baby
character
showers
likable.
So dude, it was like, when I think back of it, like, why
Batman's costume, Wonder Woman's demeanor.
When I think back of it, why did a group of adults or an adult person, like, I know they're not in the best frame of mind or whatever, but it's just like playing a character like that. How did you not think that would be like incredibly grating? Like the younger Barry Allen or whatever he was called.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man! It's and then the poor person had to play his love interest or their love interest. They got absolutely shafted.
She's pretty fucking in it, isn't she?
But as I mean, for something that was probably going to be a thing, and they it was awful. And then even the George Clooney cameo at the bottom, like, fuck off! No one wanted it. No one cared about it.
The fucking Aquaman cameo at the end.
Yeah, rubbish. Like, I like Jason Momoa, but he just needs to stay away from Aquaman.
Oh, he wants to, for fuck's sake. I'm absolutely certain of it at this point.
Yeah.
That man wants the fuck out.
So that's basically like number 2 on the shit list. no particular order, but The Flash, man. It was just so. Oh God! And I've watched some bad movies and stuff this year, but that was just rubbish. There's no excuse for it. It's just rubbish. And like we've seen superhero movies that have come out.
It's just top to bottom. The costume's terrible.
That's what I'm saying, man. The special effects, there's no excuse for it.
No, well,
Nicolas Cage in it.
That's top to bottom is unfair. Okay, Sasha Calle's Supergirl looked great. That was a great interpretation.
Supergirl was the best thing in
cool.
it. And like, you know, there's a part of me that was just happy to see Michael Keaton as Batman again.
And he was class in it. They let him Batman be awesome. They really did.
Yes. And there was another thing I just kind of said there before. But yeah, like you know, doing the stuff like Christopher Reeves in there, and you know,
George Reeves. Christopher Reeves was in there as well. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I literally saw a clip of somebody pointing out that George Reeves,
the original,
the black and white Superman, pulling that guy up and using that footage, like it's generally understood that man killed himself because he got typecast as playing Superman.
Yeah, that's pretty insensitive.
Am I wrong? Like they then just...
I don't know enough about it, to be honest.
And oddly enough, Ben Affleck played him in a movie.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. But basically, it's just... And then the Nick Cage cameo and...
Like, no one would get that. They didn't know that about the documentary. No one would get it if they weren't, like, fucking, like, elder nerds. Like, we got that because... You know, that was pertinent information at one stage of our lives or another. Like, you know, it was kind of like, we were all talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, but people, like, they haven't got a fucking clue what it's about.
Yeah.
That would be a deep cut for me. And I was like, well, it's like, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. Mechanic Spider. Nicolas Cage. I don't like Nicolas Cage, you know?
But Nicolas Cage even talked about, like, going to the set and doing what he was supposed to be doing. Like, did you see that interview where he was just like, he interviewed and said, I was told that I would have this much time and that with them, and really all I had to do was turn around and react to the world behind me. And so that's what I shot. Now, when I saw the movie, suddenly I'm fighting a spider. I was like, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, so number 2 in the shit list.
Let's make it to the shit list. Positivity. Okay. I'm going to go with...
this is number 3, right?
This is our second positive item. Second positive item, and I have an honourable mention that I'm going to give.
Fair.
This comes in the live show end of things. John Mulaney's stand-up special in March was astounding. I enjoyed it immensely. It was a whole lot of fucking fun. And getting to see the special... subsequently, oh my god, even as I said, I just remembered Fight Like Apes was in March as well, in the same venue. Those were 2 great shows. But what I'm going with as my positive thing of the year, or my number 1 thing, or my second positive thing, is seeing Julia Masley in Edinburgh. We talked about her before. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. She's currently performing that show in London in various venues. It's just, again... surreal clowning that cares about you. That by the end of it, it builds a relationship with the audience in the room so that you are all together in a shared experience. And it's so positive and so beautiful and so fun. And it was like genuinely moving theatre. I felt an emotion.
Who would have thought that?
I know. Possible. It's good to do it once a year.
Yeah. And if you want to hear what Aiden's talking about, you can go back and listen to our...
there's a picture of her as the cover.
Yeah, it was called Ha Ha Ha, wasn't it?
Yeah, the episode was Ha 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 Ha. And it is episode number 123.
123, okay. Oh yeah, sure, I was looking for it on Spotify, but it's not that number, so we should probably that number is on Spotify.
It's easy to go with the Instagram.
Okay, better. Yeah, so episode 123, Ha Ha Ha, check it out. It's a super, even for me, I was interested in listening to you talk about it. And it sounds like a crazy experience, so yeah, that's pretty cool.
The fucking Bear season 2 came out this year as well. Look, a lot of good stuff this year.
But did we watch? So should I mention what's number 2 in my
your second positive thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a backup if we didn't watch this year because my brain's a bit muddy.
Okay, go for it.
Was Mr. In Between this year? Declan Shalvey, Old Dog.
Give me a moment.
I feel like it might
October 22.
Okay, well, my backup anyways, if it's not Mr. Interesting, which is great.
Mr. Interesting is a great show. Go to Disney Plus, watch it.
Yeah, absolutely, while it's still there. So basically, Aidan, then my favorite. I have one favorite and then an honorable mention.
Yep.
I think Gen V was excellent.
Is that an honorable mention or a favorite?
That's a favorite.
Cool. Great show. Very good.
I really
Likeable
like Gen
characters.
V, man. Yes. Even better than I liked season 1 of The Boys.
Yeah. Grim fucking effects.
Yeah. Really cool commentary on things. Like really cool insight to superhero powers that I didn't think before. As two people who consume a lot of this type of material, it was cool to kind of be like, wow, I never thought of that power before, or I never thought of that type of thing. It was cool to kind of still have to be blown away by stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it did as well. It played with the it played with something that we saw in Logan as well, which is like the deterioration of a superhero or of a
body, or would you say?
A body, like a power turning in on itself. When we saw Patrick Stewart's character suffering from dementia, we can see that the degradation of a human body, or the deterioration over time, what that does to a person who has superpowers. Like even the guy who had the brain tumor that is going to kill him, but makes him also want to fucks with his inhibitions and makes him fuck things. Like, it was very funny, but it was also like, oof, Christ.
Yeah. So Gen V was, really, really good show. I look forward to more than that. And I had to say probably Jordan, the character who could switch between male and female.
Oh yeah,
they were my favorite character in it.
Cool character, yeah.
They were so badass and so cool. Again, I loved all the ideas that they put on these characters and their powers, and how in a contemporary, it's basically it's just kind of there's fresh ideas out there, there's great stuff out there, and you might think something's as simple as someone who can just change gender or whatever, but it's just no, that's pretty fucking cool. That character was well written and so well written, so cool. But even kind of Monroe's powers of being kind of rooted in self-harm. Another character's quickest powers being rooted in kind of body dysmorphia almost, they're all powers associated with common themes and issues people are facing today.
Yeah, that Cricket's power thing, the fact that she has this thing inside her that she can do, but it's repressed based on self-consciousness. That's interesting.
Eating and purging,
The fact that she can get huge, but for some reason that's seen as a negative,
Yeah. But which is funny, isn't it? But it's cool. So Gen V, definitely up there. So much fun. And then my honorable mention,
yes,
because I watched it this year, season 4, I think it is, of What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
Remember Guillermo gets bitten by...
yes, a fun season.
And Colin Robinson's bits where he tries to run in for local government or council, and oh my god, man, so much fun. And What We Do, our Only Murders in the Building, makes you laugh every time, but What We Do in the Shadows is so fucking good.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great collection.
Gen V, but then I'll mention What We Do in the Shadows because it's just so much fun. And season 4 came out this year, and I love it.
Then I come to my third Neg, and it's going to be the Arnold Schwarzenegger series Fubar.
Okay.
I have been a lifelong Schwarzenegger fan, for good or for bad. I was raised with him as an icon, as a hero, as a I don't want to say role model these days based on his personal behavior, but based on the sort of the heroic characters he played. I was watching Heroes, even if they were a little edgy, but. This show, with all the money they poured into it, with all the stuff they tried to crib from True Lies, with all the... I got an episode and a half into it. It was unfucking bearable. Maybe it gets better. Maybe. Honest to God, I just could not fucking deal. It was painful. I was just I don't know why I'm watching the fucking A-Team in 2023 with all the money you put into this. It lacked. It was the kind of thing where it's I don't even think there was real fucking violence in it because it had to be appealing to everybody, so it was just neutered. It wasn't even a Schwarzenegger violent film. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, say what you will about True Lies, they're breaking necks and shooting faces. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I didn't watch Fubar. I wanted to watch it though.
oh well, give it a shot. Give it a look. You know, maybe you'll enjoy it. I just was like so annoyed. I wasn't so annoyed. I was just like, this is frustrating.
Yeah.
On June 17th, 2023, Netflix renewed the series for a second season. Cool. Oh, honorable mention for disappointment. That last season of The Witcher.
Well, that was actually going to nearly be on my list because I put it on and I was just like, can't be fucked.
Yeah. Don't know what the fuck's going on. None of these characters are likable. That's unfair. But like, I just wasn't digging it. It's so, the plots are so all over the fucking shop at this point.
Yeah, and a lot of the Star Wars shows falling on their arses.
So what's your number 3 neg?
So I struggled, to be honest. I struggled to pick a number 3, you know? I was trying to think of stuff that I found disappointing, and I'm sure there was stuff I found disappointing, you know? But to be honest, and I kind of, how do I say this? I'm reluctant to say this to a degree, but it is what it is. I guess one of my biggest disappointments this year was Kang.
Kang specifically?
Yeah. Just in the sense of, like, we didn't see him do much in Ant-Man. We didn't see him do much in Loki season 2. And it's just like, and then obviously, as it happened, Jonathan Majors has now been convicted, has he?
Oh, okay, let me pull this up. I heard you wrong, or I misunderstood. You said Kang, I heard MODOK.
Okay.
Jonathan Majors has been found guilty for reckless assault in the 3rd degree and found guilty of harassment. Major could be in prison for a year. It's safe to say that Major's role as Kang will certainly not be seen again in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after the jury ruled not in his favour. This is supposition, though. I don't know who's saying that.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know. I don't know what's going on. Like, I heard somebody suggest that Majors had a, you can't recast me clause in his contract. I would also say there's also morality clauses and stuff in there as well, where it's like, if you're found guilty of a massive fucking crime, maybe this shit applies, you know?
Yeah.
So, there's that, you know? But, so when you say disappointment, you're saying, is it because Jonathan Majors because Jonathan Majors personally has proven to be an issue? Or,
Well, to be honest, it crossed my mind about 3 things that I was unhappy with this movie this year. It crossed my mind about Jonathan Majors before the actual stuff we heard today. Essentially, excuse me. It crossed my mind before the stuff we heard today about Jonathan Majors, you know? Just in the sense of just like kind of, you know, I think what it alludes to is my issue with the MCU as a whole, you know? Kind of, it's not been good lately.
Yeah.
You know? It's definitely movies have struggled to forward the story at all, progress the story at all, you know? We were looking forward to it and we saw the signs building up to Endgame. And this has just been the phase 2. And the thing is, they did Endgame having no experience. They have experience now. Yeah. They have more information. Yeah. They have more, just more experience.
This should be
better.
It's
just like, it should be better, man. It all should be much better and much better planned. And I know COVID, you can say COVID all span their works about that, but it's not. It's not about that. Those things didn't affect Marvel, and we have to be honest about that. It didn't affect Marvel in the sense that that doesn't kind of.
Yeah, they have a long enough term plan.
Yeah.
That this should be fucking working, you know, and it's the thing as well. I've said it a bunch. Because I'm so fucking smart. I'm so fucking smart, Kevin. I'm so smart. I've got fucking ideas about nerd things.
I get erections when I see how smart you are.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Brain boners.
When they started, they tried to hire the best. It's hard to hire the best when you're making as much as you are. At a certain point, you've just got to hire who's available. And that's going to fuck with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want precision and excellence, what is it? You can have it fast, good, or cheap.
Yeah, you can exactly. I used to say about tattoos. You can have, if you're a tattoo artist, you can be two of three things exactly: fast, good, and or cheap.
Yeah.
I would like to say I'm not three.
Yeah.
I'm perfect.
Well, right now they're giving us a lot of it fast,
Yeah, well, not Marvel, that's for sure.
and it's not good.
Yeah, so kind of, I think that's kind of my kind of
Negatives.
negatives. Yeah, because like I know, like look, the MCU stuff, man. It's like, where's it going? You know, Shang-Chi, Eternals, all this shit.
Okay.
Like, I like these characters, and don't get me wrong, but it's just like I just don't have any, like, there's no, basically, like Marvel, like when you start hearing about, oh, they could bring back Robert Downey Jr. and this and that, and it's just like, no.
Because it's also how much can you split the time across the fucking quantity of characters at this point then? You know?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to care about Richard Madden?
I know what I want to,
Okay.
you know.
Let's go with our last positive ones, right?
Okay.
I'm going to go with I'm going to give you a couple of honorable mention.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Loved it.
Fun fucking film. Across the Spider-Verse.
Loved it.
Fun fucking film. It should be the number one thing here, but that I just think there's too much rehashing to remind you of the first movie. There's a lot of recapping, and I just think it pads a movie out a half an hour longer than it needs to be. Nimona. I think Nimona's...
Dude, I just watched that.
It's great.
I watched that last week.
My order is Nimona, Ninja Turtles, Across the Spider-Verse, and my number one good thing of the year, Blue-Eyed Samurai.
Okay, so
Completely
Blue-Eyed
out of
Samurai,
nowhere.
I need to watch. I still haven't finished it.
It came completely out of nowhere for me, and I fucking loved it.
Fair.
It's... Look, I'm sure it's got moments where I'd watch again and go, it's taking its time here or whatever, but just like, for the fact that I had no anticipation for a brand new property to just hit and just be as good as it fucking is,
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. I was distraught to see a little interview with one of the producers or directors or whatever the fuck, who was saying, we don't know if we're renewed, and when we don't know that we're renewed, we have to let the crew go. So the institutional knowledge you have with a bunch of animators that have spent 2 years, 3 years animating a character is gone. Now, maybe it has since been renewed. Maybe that's soon enough that they can get as many people back as they want. Because if you've got a team that has spent the last 2 years animating Misu and knows how to do it perfectly, that's better than having to get a bunch of people in who have to learn to mimic the traits and the tics and the performance nuances that were developed over time by an original crew. Like most TV shows, I wouldn't give a shit. But because this is as good as it is, I really hope they get as many of the original crew back as possible, because it's just going to help it. Blue-Eyed Samurai, that's my
final on the list, because the same as yourself, basically. And I think I was lucky, but it's like I didn't hear a single thing about it. I didn't watch a single trailer, and I knew nothing. But up until this point, one of my favorite contemporary horror movies was It Follows.
Right.
And It Follows is great.
Yeah.
And it still is probably my favorite contemporary horror movie, certainly of the last, I'd say, 15 to 20 years. However, Talk to Me was fucking awesome.
Wow.
Talk to Me was so good, man. I was thinking about this. When I do Guardians of the Galaxy, when I say, like, The Killer, when I say... there was a few kind of like things I really enjoyed that I had lots of fun with. But I think Talk to Me, it's a movie I'll recommend to people, It's a movie I'll probably watch next Halloween. And I don't know, say, am I going to recommend other movie? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily, like, this is a movie that I think is great. And I'd watch it with friends, I'd watch it again, I'd recommend it. It's great.
Yeah.
It was so well shot. The story was so well done. So efficient, straight to it. It was awesome.
That's great. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I think that's it. Like, I've watched a few documentaries that are great and all that kind of stuff, but I will say, with the exception of a handful of TV shows that we watched, or like I said, Gen V was great. Like, but I'd love to I just feel like I didn't get stuck into anything this year.
Okay. What?
Like, I've been certainly less enamored with, like, say, the MCU shows, so I didn't really enjoy them as much, or, you know, yeah, it's kind of just like, you know the way, like, sometimes, like, everybody's hyped for a TV show or a movie or something. I kind of feel there wasn't anything really like that this year, or a documentary or anything, you know?
You didn't feel the sort of cultural zeitgeisty buzziness.
Exactly. I like collective buzzes. I like, you know, when everybody's having fun or listening to podcasts or TV shows, or, you know, you can come in and talk about them and different things like that. Like, but I just feel like I know Succession, everybody knows Succession, and I've not watched it, and I will watch it, but
at that point you're a year behind the buzz. Yeah.
But this is it, like, yeah. So yeah, kind of talk to me, because they were also new directors and all that kind of stuff. It was their first feature film.
They made a lot of shorts, a lot of like online content.
Yeah, but great feature, like wild, brilliant. So that's my 3 cents.
Any hopes or anticipations for next year?
Hopes for next year. I'm going to be honest with you. My hopes for next year, I want to read more.
Books or comic books?
Books, but comic books also. You know, I have a shame pile that I'd like to get through. There's stuff that I'm really, really interested in and want to read, and just kind of say never have. And it's just like kind of I'm interested in picking up some. You know, there's like the epic collections that Marvel do.
Yeah,
I want to get some stuff like that.
See, I always think those things are wildly overwhelming. The ones that are like 2-inch fucking thick, like phone books.
Yeah, I would say, no, see, I don't mind. Let me just show you one they have one for example. Nah, man, they're about an inch thick, if even.
Okay.
They're not too bad, they're soft bad.
They're still chunky boys.
They're chunky boys, but like, because I was thinking about getting like the omnibus of Invincible and all that kind of stuff, but it's just like, they're so big and heavy, I don't think I'd ever read it. But I'd love to read some of Claremont's, like the original Claremont stuff. You know, I have read bits and pieces, of course, and I know what they're, you know, the general consensus. But like Spider-Man, Kraven the Last Hunt, I don't think I've ever read that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just like careful with the big boys, because like, I mean, I bought Thor and Iron Man and stuff back in the day, and they were just like the reprint thick, you know, get it into you collecteds, and they're that fucking big, and I just could never bring myself to sit down with the fucking things.
Oh really? Oh well, because you see, I did it with Ghost Rider. Honorable mention.
Yeah.
I went back to the 70s and started reading Ghost Rider, and I'm loving it, man.
Okay.
It's great. Like, I also, this sounds kind of strange, but I'm also just like not particularly precious about those books.
Yeah.
So it's like,
so you can be a little rougher with them.
Yeah.
But you have again, you have the Marvel app, right?
I have the Marvel app, yeah. But you know, there's just at the end of the day, like, kind of there's more like just.
Yeah, I think I might have to cancel that app. I have not read a book in there all year.
Oh, I probably look at it every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm paying for that and have not.
I look at it about every week, and it's also great for work and references and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I have X-Men Second Genesis and I have X-Men Executioner Song, and that's like kind of like fun stuff. I'm just trying to see if they're going to really like the collections. I have a Moon Knight one. I think a Wonder Man one is coming out in the 23rd of December. I'm not too sure, but yeah, man, just so yeah. Basically, next year, yeah, I want to read a bit more. I want to draw a lot more, but I want to draw traditionally, not so much digitally. And then, as a hopes for next year, no hopes. Just get my driving license, get my car.
Yeah, hopes.
What hopes and dreams have you got?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you know what I hope?
Go on.
I hope you all have a Merry fucking Christmas.
Hope you all have a Merry fucking Christmas.